Good morning, everyone. We are doing history chapter number 1, Nationalism in Europe. And our today's topic is the age of revolutions, that is 1830 to 1848. As we have discussed that conservative regimes try to consolidate their power, liberalism and nationalism came to be associated with revolution in many parts of Europe, as the Italian and the German states, the provinces of the Ottoman Empire, Ireland, and Poland. And all these revolutions were led by the liberal nationalists belonging to the educated middle class elite, among whom were professors, school teachers, clerks, and members of the commercial middle classes. Now, we will discuss why this period is known as the Age of Revolution. First, we will discuss about upheaval in France. The first upheaval took place in France in July 1830. The Bourbon king, which we have already discussed, that is Louis XVI, who had been restored to power again after the Vienna Congress by the conservatives, were now overthrown by the liberal revolutionaries, who installed a constitutional monarchy with Louis Philippe as its heads. And after that, uprising in Brussels. The July Revolution sparked an uprising in Brussels, which led to the Belgium breaking away from the United Kingdom of the Netherlands. Now, next uprising or revolt in Greece. Greece had been a part of the Ottoman Empire since the 15th century. The growth of revolutionary nationalism in Europe sparked off a struggle for independence amongst the Greeks, which began in 1821. Nationalists in Greece got support from other Greeks living in exile and also from many West Europeans who had sympathies for the ancient Greek culture. Finally, the Treaty of Constantinople of 1832 recognized Greece as an independent country. Now, the development of nationalism did not come through only through wars and territorial expansion. The role of romantic imagination in national feeling played an important role, though wars and territorial expansions played a major role in arousing the feeling of nationalism. But culture, art, poetry, stories, and music also played their role. Romantic artists were against the glorification of reasoning and science and focused on emotions, institutions, and mystical feelings. They wanted to share a collective heritage and a common cultural past as their basis of a nation. Romantic philosophers wanted to create the true spirit of nationalism through folk songs, folk poetry, and folk dances. The emphasis was laid on vernacular language and the collection of local folklore. Language too played an important role in developing nationalist sentiments. Even though Poland no longer existed as an independent territory, national feelings were kept alive through music and language. Karol Karpinski, for example, celebrated the national struggle through his operas and music, turning folk dances like the Polonaise and mazurka into nationalist symbols. And now, language also played an important role in developing the nationalist sentiments. When Russia occupied Poland, the Polish language was banned and it was replaced by the Russian language. In 1831, an armed rebellion against Russia took place, though the rebellion was crushed, but it had far reaching consequences on the people of and the learned community of Poland. Many members of the clergy in Poland began to use language as a weapon of national resistance. Polish was used for the church gatherings and all religious instructions. The use of Polish came to be seen as a symbol of the struggle against the Russian dominance. Now we will discuss about hunger, disease, hardship, and popular revolt. That is, Europe saw the worst days from 1830 to 1848. Hunger, hardship, revolt, and revolution of the liberals made economic conditions worse. There was enormous increase in population all over Europe. There were more seekers of job than employment in most of the countries. Small producers, more seekers of job, small producers in towns were often faced with stiff competition from imports of cheap machine-made goods from England. Textile industry was most affected by England's industrialization, the rise of food prices, or a year of bad harvest to a widespread pauperism in towns and villages. This year, 1848, was such a year. Food shortages and widespread unemployment brought the population of Paris out on the roads, which forced Louis Philippe flee. In 1845, weavers of Silesia had led a revolt against contractors who supplied them raw materials. They gave them orders for finished textiles but reduced their payments. On 4th June at 2 p.m., a large crowd of weavers emerged from their homes and marched in pairs up to the mansion of contractor. They were demanding higher wages, but they were treated with scorn and threats. Then some of the weavers entered forcefully into the house. They smashed the window panes, furnitures, etc., and entered the storehouse and tore to shreds the supplies of clothes. The contractor fled with his family, but came back after 24 hours with army. In exchange, they followed 11 weavers were shot. So these types of revolts were going on